Good morning. Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. We're going to get a little more serious because, as everyone knows, if you're turning your TV on, you know there's a big hurricane, Hurricane Florence, that is heading towards the East Coast. The projected landfall is Friday, and they're looking at Wilmington, North Carolina as the possible fall. You never really know with a hurricane. It can slow down, it can speed up, it can shift at any moment. But at the moment, that is the projection, and that's what we're looking at. So today we have Richard Woodruff. He's the Director of Communications and Marketing with the Red Cross. We're so glad you could be here today to talk about this serious subject of not just being safe, but how to volunteer, how to help, how to donate, you know, just the ins and outs and the knows of hurricanes. And Red Cross has been involved and dealing with these situations for years and years and years. So we're so glad you can be here to talk about that and talk about the preparation you're doing and the recommendations you have for anyone that could be in harm's way of this hurricane.
A lot going on. You know, last year was unprecedented. We had more activity, really more disaster activity in that one year than we had in the 4 previous years. Wow. So we were really tested for capacity, for our ability to be nimble, for everything that you could expect on a large-scale disaster. This is shaping up to be pretty serious. We all know that from the weather. They're very fickle. Hurricanes, we don't know exactly where they're going. So in answer to part of your question, what we're doing is we're sending volunteers and resources for sheltering all up and down the possible affected area. So what we do is we anticipate a wide area, and then as it changes last minute, we're very nimble and we can, you know, shore up resources in possibly another part of that hit zone. So we've got staff and stuff, as we call it, there right now. 700 volunteers on the ground, more going every day to fill very specific positions. Most of it is mass care and sheltering, but we need IT support. We need, you know, volunteers that do what I do, for example, media relations and that sort of thing. So we got a lot of people from Utah. I think we've sent out about 6 so far, but what we found last year, it escalates very quickly, and if capacity grows, needs grow, it's all hands on deck. So we're pulling people from all over the country.
Because hurricanes, I mean, you have to be prepped for, as you said, you're ready to go, you're nimble, you're set up, you're aiming right now at Wilmington, that's your focus. But if it shifts or, you know, slows down and starts going south, or you can pack up and go. But it's not just being there and being ready. People that are there have to take advantage of you being there.
Sure.
They need to be paying attention to the weather. They need to not try to ride this out. As many people that try to ride it out or enjoy the waves don't actually survive to talk about it. So talk about where you're situated, how far off coast you're situated, and how people can find you and get to you, and your warning about doing that.
Yeah, great question. What we do initially is we have sheltering already set up, and they're predetermined. You know, we call them memorandums of understanding. What that translates to, solid structures. Elementary schools are a big part of what we do. And so we send our volunteers sort of on the perimeter, Columbia, Raleigh, that sort of thing. Okay. And then, but we bring them in, we are very concerned about their safety as well. But people need to heed the warning. Our mantra is have a kit, you know, be prepared, have a kit, be informed. A kit being a 72-hour kit.
Sure.
Because you got to remember, a lot of these shelters are just temporary, you know, escape from the storm. So we want people to bring a 72-hour kit that's going to provide basic essentials, toiletries and some food. We may not have cots. I mean, we're setting up as quickly as we can, but these, you know, we're talking a massive scale of tens of thousands of people. Now, if there's loss of property and these people don't have a place to go back to and have need, we convert very quickly to an evacuation shelter, and that's a more long-stay, long-term environment.
So you're asking people to not only heed the warning and find where you are, but to bring a sleeping bag, bring water if you have it. I mean, everyone has food stashed in their home. Stock that water and that food up and bring it with you. Bring your medicines.
Yeah.
Always have that sort of thing with you. If you just think a little further than a day or two.
Yeah.
Think maybe it could be a week or two, because we've seen hurricanes that go through and destroy a town, and it takes people up to a month to get back home, if they even ever go back. Some people never do. So be prepared to help the Red Cross help them.
Yeah, and be thinking of like cash. Keep cash in your 72-hour kit. Digitize all your documents, you know, things that you might lose. You know, anticipate it could, worst case scenario, and you lose your home, there's a lot of stuff in there, and, you know, important things that you want to be thinking about. But yeah, 3 days, water about a gallon a day per person. And again, we're going to have resources at these shelters, but they may not be fully staffed and equipped for overnight stays. But we can switch to that very, very quickly and send people where they need to go if needed.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the things that you are doing beyond. There's some talking points in here that I don't want to miss any of them, but what are some of the things you really want people to heed when it comes to Hurricane Florence? What ways that people can keep on top of it? How they can actually volunteer, because you could take all the volunteers, you could take a ton of volunteers right now, and not just volunteers, but donations and cash. And people often can get misled and donate to the wrong thing.
Sure.
Because there's all kinds of people that try to scam when disasters happen. So let's talk about how people can donate, how they can volunteer, how they can provide things that you would need, because I'm sure you need everything.
Yeah, financial, of course, is very important. We're not funded by the government, so private donations are a big part of it. When we have a big disaster, you're able to designate those funds specifically to that disaster relief operation. And there's 3 ways you can do that: redcross.org/donate, call 1-800-RED CROSS. And one of the more emerging and interesting ways that we do donations is via text. You see a lot of this these days. So what we do is we have a designated number. Actually, what you do is you text the word Florence to 90999, and that will send $10. Now, $10 may not seem like a lot of money, but that would pay for 2 comfort kits. That would be some basic essentials. And so these are very expensive operations. So if you go to the website, if you didn't get the number or the other info, you can do that. And it'll give you a lot of information, too, about what we're doing and what the needs are.
So will that text continue to give you strings of information if you donate? Or you can go to the website for that?
Yeah, the information is really more at the website, but it's a very convenient, easy way. It basically is your phone bill is how it's billed. Yeah. And when you see, you'll be seeing a lot of this on television, a lot of media get behind this, but it's amazing how that money adds up. And then you mentioned volunteering.
Yes.
We have a great staff of volunteers, but sometimes we do have immediate needs, and we will recruit local, we call them worker bees, that can help out, that are in the area. We give them a crash course in training. They might be shelter workers, and so sometimes we'll need to beef up the ranks when we have these really big shelters. And a lot of people do step forward and they do want to help, and we'll find an opportunity for them.
Right. Now, one thing we also should probably mention too is should only people evacuate to avoid possible drowning or whatever could happen, a home collapsing on them if the wind is strong enough, whatever. But people that stay in their homes, when they're told to evacuate, are facing other dangers as well. Sewers not working, possible danger with electrocution, things like that. There's multiple reasons why people should not only heed the advice to go to a Red Cross shelter before the hurricane, but until they're told to go back home, stay there.
Yeah.
You want to talk about any of the advice of people that are afraid to leave their homes, they don't want to leave their possessions or their stuff, but why is it wise to do that?
Well, look at history. The crucible of experience is a good teacher. Look at Katrina. Look at some of these large-scale disasters. Look at Sandy. It is extremely dangerous. And so don't think you can ride it out. Err to the side of caution. And so you want to be certainly prepared. You ask a question about shelters. So if they do leave, where do they go? If you go to the Red Cross website, you can download an app that basically gives real-time information. It's a hurricane app, but it's also an emergency app. It will give shelter locations. It will pinpoint those, and so it's very convenient. So you can identify where that shelter and safe place might be.
And it's not just people that are projected in the path right now. People lying on the outer edges of the projected path need to be ready too.
Well, then you've got more of a flooding issue. These hurricanes can be very stagnant. Look at Harvey, for example, the catastrophic flooding. A lot of the, the wind damage is one thing, but after the storm moves through in a few days, then you've got this residual flooding damage, and it can park over an area and just drop tons of rain. And so we see what happens with floods. And that's a long-term proposition. I mean, the Red Cross is going to be there for as long as we're needed as it moves into recovery mode. So we already have capacity there, but we need more capacity, so we adapt as the needs unfold over time.
Perfect. And as you said, you've been here a long time, and you plan to be there as long as needed. So that's fantastic. We owe, as a country, we owe a debt of gratitude to the Red Cross for what you guys do, what you continue to do, what you plan to continue to do. So one more time, just say your website, and the text is 90999.
Correct. Good memory.
You text Florence.
Text the word Florence.
And $10 will just be attached to your credit, your phone bill, and that money goes directly to you. So that's a real simple way. Everybody, if you don't have a lot of time, just text $10. In fact, I'll do it when we're done, to help out, because the Red Cross the need for supplies and donations are endless.
Yeah, and you had mentioned something earlier about be careful about charities. I mean, there's a lot of other charities that certainly are worthy of consideration as well. Red Cross, we've been around 137 years. Right. We've got a great rating. An average of 91 cents of every dollar goes directly to fund. We invest in programs, services, and disaster relief operations. So we're lean and mean. We're 95% volunteer-based, and as a result, we're able to be very, very efficient in how we operate.
And be extremely helpful and exactly what people needed during this time of, well, danger, I suppose.
Sure. Yeah, we are in the disaster business,
exactly.
So it's kind of what we do.
Business is right. So Richard Woodruff, Director of Communications and Marketing with the Red Cross, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Make sure you check out their website, and just quickly, just pick up your phone right now, text to 90999, text Florence, and just send $10 over, and you know, that little bit, as he mentioned, adds up and helps a lot. So
sure does.
Thank you so much. And if you have family members and friends on the coast, be in communication with them. Maybe encourage them to come to Utah, come join the sunshine,
we
and
have
get
a
out of the
Safe and
danger.
Well app as well.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
And just stay tuned to the news and keep an eye on this storm, as we know you are. And we appreciate you being here so much.
Thank you.
And don't go anywhere. We have Nuzzles & Co. coming up right after this.